The scissors were dull. James Hartwell squeezed the handles and the red ribbon bent instead of severing. The principal, Mrs. Chen, he'd met her twice before, guided his hands with hers, and together they made 3 attempts before the fabric finally separated. Portable stage boards creaked under his weight. Photographers crouched forward. Someone applauded. September morning light came through gaps in the portable canopy setup. 28 guests occupied 40 folding chairs. The smell of fresh paint drifted from the new library wing behind them. Hartwell released the scissors and stepped back. Mrs. Chen took them, smiling. "Mr. Hartwell, this is the 12th library you've funded," she said into the microphone, voice echoing slightly across the courtyard. "These children will carry your legacy forward." He delivered his prepared response. "Education creates opportunity. 3rd time this month." The words arrived in his mouth automatically. 2 students stood beside him, girls, maybe 9 or 10 years old, wearing matching school polo shirts. The photographer adjusted her position 3 times, finally settling. Big smile. Hartwell placed his hand on the taller girl's shoulder. Flash! The small crowd dispersed within 90 seconds of the photo's completion. His car was waiting. Black sedan, driver standing by the rear door. Hartwell shook hands with the superintendent, accepted a ceremonial plaque from Mrs. Chen, thanked them both. He climbed into the leather interior. The door closed. Climate control maintained 68 degrees. Tinted windows made the school building appear darker as they pulled away. Caroline sat in the front passenger seat, tablet already extended toward him. She was 34, efficient, rarely smiled unless required. "You have the board lunch at noon, then the call with Singapore at 2. Should I confirm the foundation gala for Saturday?" Hartwell scrolled through his calendar. "Confirm. Add the education committee meeting. Thursday. Your daughter called yesterday. Should I follow up?" He paused. The school building disappeared from the rearview mirror. "Put it in the log." Caroline made a note. She didn't ask which daughter. There were 3. The office was on the 47th floor in Midtown Manhattan, floor-to-ceiling windows, city grid extending below. Framed Forbes profile from 2019 hung near the door. Redemption through philanthropy. The coffee in his ceramic mug had gone cold while he was at the ceremony. He didn't pour a fresh cup. The spreadsheet occupied his monitor's center. 12 schools funded. 4,200 students served. 8.7 million deployed. Projected return on investment in community goodwill? Substantial. He added notes for the quarterly foundation report, color-coded by priority. His phone vibrated against the desk surface. He checked the screen. Emma Hartwell. Message from 3 days ago, still unread. "Saw the news. Congrats, I guess." "Me?" The message preview showed her photo icon. Old photo, she'd changed her hair. He considered responding. Weighed, appropriate tone. Decided to handle it when there was time. Swiped the notification closed. The spreadsheet filled the screen again. At 8:30 that evening, he removed his suit jacket in the penthouse apartment, hung it precisely on the designated hanger, loosened his tie, poured 2 fingers of scotch into a crystal glass, then set it on the counter without drinking. He stood at the window. City lights formed an endless grid. The apartment was silent except for the climate control's low hum. The kitchen service delivered meals daily. He hadn't used the stove in 14 months. The dining table held one place setting. His reflection appeared faintly in the window glass. Dark suit, graying hair, 58 years old, alone. He walked toward the bedroom, past the hallway console table. A framed photograph sat there. Professional portrait from 2003. 3 children, ages 7, 10, and 12. His ex-wife beside him, everyone arranged by the photographer. Emma on the left, Daniel in the center, Sophie on the right. Formal poses. No one laughing. The frame sat slightly crooked. Cleaning service had moved it. He reached out to center it. His hand hovered, pulled back. He continued toward the bedroom without adjusting it. Before turning off the light, he stood in the doorway and looked back at the photograph. Tried to remember the last time his family had taken a photo where everyone smiled without being directed. Couldn't recall one. The thought arrived and departed without ceremony. He owned no candid photographs, only professional ones from before the divorce. 12 schools in 3 years, 3 children who never called. The elementary school gym smelled like rubber and industrial cleaner. Championship banners from 1998 and 2004 hung near the ceiling. 140 students sat cross-legged on the floor, organized by grade. Kindergartners in front, 5th graders in back. Teachers lined the walls. Morning light came through high windows. Several students fidgeted. A boy in the 3rd row picked at his shoelace. Hartwell entered through the side door. Mrs. Chen escorted him to the portable podium. The microphone produced feedback when she tested it. She adjusted the height, tried again. Better. "We have a very special guest today who made our new library possible," Mrs. Chen announced. Students straightened slightly. Teachers set their phones face down. Hartwell stood at the podium, removed index cards from his jacket pocket. Caroline had prepared them yesterday. He made eye contact according to his public speaking training. Scan left, center, right, repeat. Education is the foundation of opportunity, he began. The acoustics made his voice sound larger than it was. Reading opens doors you didn't know existed. Work hard, stay curious, make good choices. 6 minutes allocated. His speech ran 5 minutes 45 seconds. Perfect. Polite applause, led by teachers. Mrs. Chen thanked him. Students were released to recess. They stood in waves, grade by grade, streaming toward the exits. Noise level increased immediately. Hartwell moved toward the hallway exit, already reviewing his mental schedule. Next appointment at 1:15, drive time 40 minutes. He spoke with Mrs. Chen about donor wall placement. She showed him preliminary sketches. He was nodding at the third option when someone spoke behind him. "Excuse me, mister," he turned. A girl stood there, maybe 9 years old, brown hair in a ponytail, faded purple backpack on both shoulders. Her friends had continued toward the playground without her. "Yes? Do you have a lunch? You can sit with us if you don't." Hartwell glanced at Mrs. Chen, who smiled encouragingly. He checked his watch. Habit. The girl waited, not nervous, just patient. She adjusted her backpack straps. "That's very kind," Hartwell said, "but I have to get back to work." "Okay." No disappointment in her voice, just acceptance. She turned slightly, preparing to leave. "Do you—" Hartwell hesitated. "Do you eat lunch outside?" "Sometimes. Cafeteria today because it might rain." The girl left without waiting for further response, jogged to catch up with her friends near the water fountain, waved to them. They disappeared around the corner together. Their voices faded. Hartwell remained standing in the hallway. Mrs. Chen was called away by a teacher, something about a permission slip. He was alone. The hallway had emptied. He could hear cafeteria noise from the adjacent wing, distant sound of trays, chairs, children's voices. He walked toward the exit, paused at the corner, looked down the hallway toward the cafeteria entrance, watched students streaming in. The girl appeared briefly in the flow, purple backpack visible, then gone. Caroline was waiting by the car in the parking lot. She opened the door when he approached. He settled into the seat, accepted the tablet she handed him. "Next stop is the investor lunch at Cipriani," Caroline said. "Right." Hartwell was still looking toward the building. Through the chain-link fence he could see the playground, children running. The girl sat with a group of 4 others at a picnic table. "Sir?" "Let's go." The car pulled out of the parking lot. Hartwell checked the time. 12:47. The lunch meeting started at 1:15. Traffic would be moderate. They'd arrive with 3 minutes to spare. He opened his email on the tablet. 17 new messages since the assembly. He read them without retaining much, glanced up once. The school was no longer visible. The girl's invitation hadn't been special. That was what stayed with him. She'd offered it the same way she might offer a seat on a bus or hold a door open. Normal social inclusion, nothing more. He realized he had no script for receiving ordinary kindness. Hartwell arrived unscheduled on Tuesday, 12:20 in the afternoon. The main office had 3 desks, a running copy machine, and a bulletin board displaying next week's lunch menu. Someone's phone rang, unanswered. He signed the visitor log. Mrs. Chen looked up from her computer, surprised but welcoming. "Mr. Hartwell, we weren't expecting you." "Quick visit. Wanted to see the library in use. And students are at lunch now, but I can show you." Movement outside the office window. The girl from last week passed by, saw him through the glass, waved, continued toward the cafeteria. Purple backpack still faded. Mrs. Chen stood. "Let me get my keys for the library wing." Hartwell followed her into the hallway. Lunch period noise surrounded them. Students carrying trays, conversations echoing off lockers, someone laughing loudly. The smell was unmistakable. Pizza day. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The girl backtracked, appeared in the office doorway, addressed Hartwell directly, ignoring Mrs. Chen's presence. "Hi, mister. You came back." "Hello. Yes, I'm checking on the library." "Did you bring a lunch today?" Hartwell paused. "No, You can still sit with us. We have extra crackers." Extra crackers. The detail registered strangely. His phone vibrated in his pocket. Text from Caroline. 20 minutes until board call." Mrs. Chen smiled. "I think the library can wait, Mr. Hartwell." The girl was already walking toward the cafeteria. Assumed he would follow. He did. The cafeteria held over 200 students. Round tables, 8 seats each. High ceilings created an echo chamber. Windows overlooked the playground. Clock on the far wall, 12:28. "This is Devin, Aisha, and Marcus," the girl said, gesturing to 3 other students at the table. All 4th grade, roughly 9 or 10 years old. They looked up, nodded, returned to eating. Hartwell sat. The folding chair was slightly too small for him. He placed his phone face down on the table, kept his laptop bag on the floor, unopened. You're the guy who built the library, Devin said. Brown skin, close-cropped hair, pizza slice in hand. I funded it. Other people built it. Same thing, Marcus said. Not exactly. They accepted this. Continued eating. Hartwell's phone vibrated against the table. Once, twice, 3 times in 8 minutes. He glanced at it but didn't pick up. Marcus talked about his cat. Orange, named Cheeto, constantly ate houseplants despite attempts to deter him. Aisha mentioned her grandmother was visiting this weekend from North Carolina. Devin asked if Hartwell had ever been to Comic-Con. He hadn't. Mira, he finally caught her name when Devin used it. Didn't talk much. Just ate her lunch. Occasionally nodded. The conversation required nothing from him. No expertise, no strategy, just listening. His phone vibrated again. 4th time, Devin noticed. Your phone keeps buzzing. I know. Mira looked up from her sandwich. Don't you have to answer it? Not right now. Okay. And she continued eating. They offered him crackers from a shared box. He declined. They didn't press. The crackers weren't special, just standard saltines from someone's lunch. Aisha had brought them. The detail mattered for no clear reason. Time passed without his tracking it. The cafeteria monitor made circuits through the room. Other tables were louder. This group ate relatively quietly. No one performed for him. No one asked about money or buildings. The bell rang. 12:58. Students stood immediately, a coordinated chaos of tray collection and chair scraping. Hartwell checked his watch, surprised. 38 minutes had elapsed. He walked with the group toward the tray return area. The cafeteria emptied in waves. Are you coming back? Mira asked. Maybe. Okay, bye, mister. She left with her friends. No lingering. They disappeared toward their classroom hallway. Hartwell walked to the parking lot. Caroline stood outside the car, not inside, which was unusual. She held her phone toward him. Screen displayed missed calls. 3. The board call started 6 minutes ago. Call them back. I'll join from the car. Caroline paused, studied his face. Is everything okay? Yes, everything's fine. And he climbed into the car. Didn't apologize for the delay. That was unusual for him. Caroline got in, began dialing. The car pulled out. Clock on the dashboard, 1:04. 40 minutes had passed, without him mentally calculating the next obligation. First time in years. The realization arrived quietly, without ceremony. He joined the board call. They were discussing Q4 projections. He contributed appropriately, made 3 comments, asked 1 question. The call ended at 1:47. He'd canceled 3 calls to sit in a cafeteria. The child had asked about the cat. The library was quiet on Friday afternoon. Hartwell arrived at 3:15 after dismissal. 6 students scattered at tables, librarian shelving books. Afternoon sun came through windows at a low angle. New furniture smell still present, mixing with old book scent. Mira sat at a round table near the back, working on something. Looked up when he entered, waved once, returned to her work. The librarian, Mrs. Park, nameplate on the desk, approached. Mr. Hartwell, Mira said you might come by. She did? She's been here since 3. Mother works late on Fridays. Hartwell walked to Mira's table. Sat across from her, not beside her, respected the space between them. She had a math worksheet, long division problems, pencil moving slowly, eraser shavings gathered near her elbow. Her backpack, the faded purple one, leaned against the table leg, water bottle half empty beside it. Math homework. Yeah, long division. She didn't look up. Do you need help? Not really. I'm just slow at it. She worked silently. Hartwell watched without interrupting. The clock on the wall clicked forward. 3:22. She finished the worksheet 8 minutes later, closed the workbook, set her pencil down carefully. Does your mother pick you up here? At 5:30, she works at the hospital. Not a doctor, she does scheduling. That's a long wait. It's okay, I read. Mira pulled a library book from her backpack. Middle grade fiction, bookmark halfway through. Cover showed a girl on a bicycle. Other students were leaving, parents arriving. Voices in the hallway, then fading. By 3:35, only Mira and 2 other children remained in the library. Mrs. Park organized returns at the front desk. Mira opened her book, started reading, completely comfortable with the silence. Hartwell sat there. Uncertain what to do, she turned a page. Do you eat dinner here? She looked up. At home. Mom brings stuff. Sometimes we eat kind of late. What time? 7:30? 8 sometimes. She said it like she was explaining a bus schedule. No complaint in her voice. Just logistics. Hartwell remembered something. His son Daniel, at age 10, sitting at the kitchen counter, heating up leftovers. Hartwell arriving home at 9. Daniel already in bed most nights. The memory arrived sharp and unwelcome. He adjusted his position in the chair, realized he'd been staring, looked away toward the windows. The library clock showed 3:47. Mrs. Park was preparing to lock the reference section. Mira returned to reading. Hartwell stood, walked to a nearby shelf, selected a book without looking at the title, biography section, returned to his seat, opened it. They read silently for 20 minutes. Parallel activity, no conversation needed. She turned pages slowly, occasionally moved her lips slightly with the words. The afternoon light shifted across the table, changed angle. The library became completely quiet except for Mrs. Park's occasional movement. Mira closed her book. I have to go to the bathroom. Okay. Don't leave. Not anxious. Just stating preference. I won't. She took the book with her, left the backpack. Hartwell sat there with his unopened biography. Stared at the first page without reading it. Thought about 2-hour wait times. About eating dinner at 8. About children who learned to keep themselves busy. The memory of Daniel wouldn't leave. Kitchen counter. Microwave plate. Homework spread out. Alone. Mira returned, sat back down, opened her book again. At 4:45, a woman entered the library, hospital scrubs visible under her jacket. Hair tied back in a practical ponytail, slight fatigue in her posture, visible in the way she rolled her shoulders once. She scanned the room, saw Hartwell. Her expression shifted, protective, assessing. Mira, ready? Mira packed her backpack slowly, zipped it closed, stood. Mom, this is, She looked at Hartwell. Hartwell stood, extended his hand. James Hartwell. The woman shook his hand briefly, formal grip. Lena Torres, you funded the library. Yes, thank you for that. Lena kept her hand on Mira's shoulder. Not aggressive, protective. Clear boundary. She didn't sit, didn't relax her posture. Mira mentioned you work at the hospital. Surgery scheduling, long hours this week. She was doing homework, very focused. Lena's smile was genuine but small. She's good at keeping herself busy. Lena guided Mira toward the exit, paused at the door, looked back. Mr. Hartwell, I appreciate you being here, but Mira shouldn't take up your time. She's not. Still. The word landed with finality. They left. Mira waved from the doorway. Lena didn't. The library door closed behind them. Hartwell stood there for 30 seconds, then gathered his things, left. In the car, he sat without starting the engine, thought about Lena's formality, her protective hand on Mira's shoulder, the distance she maintained. Not hostility, protection, managing risk. He did the same thing, protected himself with distance. Controlled access. Managed risk of abandonment by never allowing closeness. The parallel struck him with uncomfortable clarity. Wednesday afternoon, 3:45, pleasant weather, 15 students on the playground, after-school program, outdoor time. Hartwell arrived during tetherball. Mira was playing against Devin, saw him, ran over. You're early today. Finished work early. Rare occurrence. He'd canceled 2 meetings. Want to see the drawing I made? Sure. They walked to a bench near the playground equipment. Mira retrieved her backpack from the rack, pulled out construction paper, crayon and marker drawing, building with library written above. Stick figures inside? One tall figure outside, labeled MRH. The drawing had a spelling error. Library, crossed out, corrected above. Bright colors, careful work inside the lines. That's you. Outside because you had to leave. It's very accurate. You can have it if you want. Hartwell took it, folded it carefully. Unusual care for a child's drawing. Thank you. I'll keep it. Mira smiled. Returned to the tetherball game. Hartwell sat on the bench, watched. The drawing sat folded in his lap. A man approached, 40s, leather portfolio, professional demeanor. He scanned the playground, made eye contact with Hartwell. James Hartwell. Hartwell stood. Yes. You've been served. The man handed him an envelope. Manila, legal size, turned and left immediately. Hartwell opened it, scanned the first page. Header, wrongful termination claim, federal court filing, plaintiff, former employee, terminated 16 months ago. Allegations of retaliation, age discrimination. His hands shook, brief tremor. He controlled them, folded the papers, put them in his jacket pocket. Mira stood 3 feet away, watching, not frightened, just observant. Hartwell sat back down, realized she'd witnessed the entire exchange. What was that? Work papers. You looked scared. I wasn't scared. Your hands were shaking. Hartwell paused. Are you okay? The question made no sense. She wasn't the one served with a lawsuit, but he didn't know what else to say. Did you do something bad? It's complicated. That means yes. It means I made decisions some people disagree with. Are you in trouble? Maybe. I don't know yet. Mira sat beside him, closer than before, didn't ask more questions. A teacher approached, calling students for a water break. Afternoon sun created long shadows across the playground. Hartwell stood, prepared to leave earlier than planned. Mira stood too. Are you okay? Yes. I have to go handle some things. Okay, she accepted without arguing. Thank you for the drawing. You're welcome. She returned to the tetherball game, didn't watch him leave, just went back to playing. Devin served the ball to her. Game resumed. Hartwell walked to the parking lot. He'd driven himself today. No driver. Sat in the driver's seat, placed the drawing on the passenger seat, sat for 90 seconds without starting the engine. The child had asked if he was okay. He'd lied. She hadn't believed him, but had accepted the lie gently. Didn't press, didn't demand truth. Just offered proximity and moved on. He started the engine, drove. The drawing stayed on the passenger seat, carefully folded. He'd hidden everything from press, competitors, board members. A 10-year-old had noticed in seconds. Thursday afternoon, 4:10. Hartwell signed the visitor log in the main office. Mrs. Chen approached, looking uncomfortable. A woman stood behind her. Professional attire, tense posture. Emma. Mr. Hartwell, your daughter is here to see you. Emma stepped forward. We need to talk. Hartwell's pen remained in his hand. Emma. Is there somewhere private? Mrs. Chen offered the small conference room, usually for parent-teacher meetings. Table for 6. No windows. She closed the door behind them. Stayed outside. Emma sat across the table, not adjacent. Maintained distance. Hartwell sat. The clock on the wall read 4:14, acoustic tile ceiling, motivational poster, reach for the stars, coffee stain on the table near his elbow. 14 months since their last conversation. He'd sent a birthday card 6 weeks ago, through Caroline. I saw the news coverage, the school visits. I'm funding educational programs. I know what you're doing. What am I doing? Emma pulled a tablet from her bag, showed him news articles. 3 local pieces about his philanthropy. He didn't reach for it. You're building a reputation. Again. I'm supporting schools. Did you support me when I graduated law school? Hartwell paused. I sent flowers. You sent flowers. Mom walked me across the stage because you were in Singapore. And that trip was scheduled months before. I called you from the hospital when Nate was born. You were in a meeting. I called back within an hour. He was already asleep. Emma's voice stayed level, not yelling, controlled. Hartwell's hands rested flat on the table, perfectly still. Daniel won't talk to you. Sophie blocked your number. Do you know that? He didn't know about Sophie. You're working on your image. That's what you always worked on. That's not fair. You want fair? You missed 18 years of fair. Hartwell prepared a response. Every defense in his mind sounded like an excuse. He said nothing. I was building something. For you. For all of you. We didn't need something built. We needed you home. I provided money. You provided money. Long pause. No response available. Emma stood, not storming out, preparing to leave with dignity, collected her tablet, her purse. You're doing this for yourself? You always did everything for yourself? I'm trying to... To what? By forgiveness? It doesn't work that way. I know that. Do you? Because it looks like you think 12 schools equals one decent father. Emma walked to the door, hand on the handle, paused without turning back. The worst part? Some kid here probably thinks you're wonderful. They have no idea. Hartwell sat alone for 60 seconds after the door closed, then stood, exited the conference room. Mira sat on a bench outside the office, library book open on her lap, waiting for her mother. She'd been there. The door wasn't soundproof. Voices had carried. She looked up, didn't speak first. Was that your kid? Yes. She seemed mad. She has reason to be. Mira nodded, returned to her book. Hartwell walked toward the exit. Didn't stop at the office. Late afternoon light came through the entrance doors. Parking lot visible. Emma's car was already gone. He reached his own car, sat inside without starting it. The child now knew. Failed father attempting rehabilitation. The truth laid bare by his daughter's voice through a conference room door. Friday evening, 7:30. Hartwell sat at his desk, laptop open. Website displayed, Executive Family Mediation 15K retainer. And services included, neutral facilitation, structured dialogue, conflict resolution frameworks, schedule family summit, professional environment. Caroline could book intake calls for Monday. His phone rang, Caroline on speaker. I can schedule intake calls for Monday. Hartwell stared at the website. $15,000 to hire someone to manage his family. Actually, don't book anything yet, sir. I'll handle this myself. Pause. Of course, have a good weekend. He closed the laptop, left his office, walked to the kitchen, hadn't cooked there in months, turned on overhead light. Warmer than his office lighting. Kitchen table was wood, round, seated 6. Fruit bowl in the center, catering service restocked weekly. He never ate from it. He pulled a notepad and pen from the junk drawer, sat at the table, pulled the chair out, scraping sound on the floor, placed the notepad in front of him, stared at blank page, wrote "Dear Emma" at the top, paused, continued. First draft. I want to apologize for my absence during your childhood. I was building a career that would provide security for you and your siblings. I recognize now that... He stopped. Read it. Sounded like a corporate memo. Defensive. He tore the page out, crumpled it, started again. Second draft. Emma, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I thought providing financial stability was enough. I was wrong. True but incomplete. Didn't address specifics. He crossed it out, left it on the table. New page. Third draft. Emma, you're right about Singapore, about the hospital, about the 18 years. I didn't just miss moments, I chose to miss them. Every time I said this meeting matters more, I was choosing wrong. You said I'm doing this for myself. You're partially right. I'm trying to become someone who could have been your father. I know that doesn't help you now. I can't undo Singapore or the empty seat at graduation. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm telling you that you were right to be angry. If you're willing, I'd like to try to be a grandfather to Nate. Not send things. Be there. As he read it 3 times. His hands shook slightly. Folded it. Addressed an envelope. Clock showed 9:23. New page. Wrote Daniel at the top. Daniel. Silent for 4 years. No calls returned. Hartwell knew Emma's life better. She'd reached out occasionally. Maintained minimum contact. Daniel had severed completely. He remembered Daniel at 10. Eating dinner alone at the kitchen counter. Hartwell. Arriving home at 9. The image was sharp. Unwelcome. Microwave plate. Homework spread out. Alone. He wrote, Daniel, I don't know if you'll read this. You haven't answered calls for 4 years. I understand why. I remember you eating dinner alone at the counter when you were 10. I told myself you were fine, independent, capable. You were alone. I can't go back and sit with you. I can only tell you that I see it now. The empty kitchen, the microwave leftovers, the silence. You don't owe me anything. Not a response, not forgiveness, not a chance. I'm writing this because you deserve to know I finally understand what I did. He signed it. No additional promises. Sealed the envelope. Clock read 10:04. Third letter. Sophie, youngest. Most distant. She'd blocked his number. He learned that from Emma. Sophie, Emma told me you blocked my number. That was the right choice for you. I don't have excuses. I have a list of things I didn't show up for. Your art show in 8th grade, your college move-in day, probably 50 other moments I don't even know I missed. I'm not asking to be unblocked. I'm telling you that your decision made sense. If you ever want to talk, I'll answer. If not, I understand that too. Sealed the final envelope, stacked all 3, stared at them. Clock showed 10:31. His phone rang. Unusual. Calls after 9 were rare. He checked the screen. Caller ID, Maple Grove Elementary, the school's main number. Hello? Hi, Mr. H. Mira's voice. He sat up straighter. Mira, is everything okay? Yeah, I'm using the office phone. My mom said I could call if it was important. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Cheeto is sick. Devin's cat. Remember he talked about him? The orange cat who eats plants. Yeah, he threw up a lot. Devin said. Is Cheeto going to be okay? The vet says yes, but Devin's worried. Thank you for telling me. I thought you'd want to know, since we talked about it. I appreciate that. Okay, bye. She hung up. No extended conversation. Hartwell sat with the phone. The child had called during his worst moment, reached out with ordinary concern. No way she knew what he needed. The letters still sat stacked on the table. He stood, placed them in his jacket pocket, would mail them tomorrow morning, turned off the kitchen light. City lights, visible through the window. He didn't know if his children would read the letters. But the child had just proved that reaching out mattered even without guarantee of response. Saturday morning, 8:15, Hartwell sat at the kitchen table. Same spot where he'd written the letters. Phone vibrated. Text from Emma. Tuesday, 2 p.m., Bluebird Cafe on Amsterdam, 1 hour. Morning light came through windows. His coffee sat untouched. The letters were already mailed. He'd dropped them in the mailbox at 7 a.m. during his walk. 1 hour, boundary, public place, safety. Days away, she wasn't rushing. He typed, "Thank you, I'll be there." Sent it, waited, no further response. He considered adding more, an apology, gratitude, deleted the draft, left it simple. Tuesday arrived. Bluebird Cafe. He entered at 1:47, 13 minutes early, found the corner table Emma had specified. Not by window, sat facing the door, ordered nothing. The cafe was moderately busy, lunch crowd thinning, acoustic music playing softly. 3 tables had laptop workers. Barista wiped the counter. Hartwell checked the time. 1:51, 1:54, 1:58. Emma arrived at 2:03, 3 minutes late. possibly deliberate. She saw him, approached without smiling, sat across the table, not beside him. You came. Of course. I wasn't sure. Waitress approached. Emma ordered coffee, black. Hartwell ordered the same. He usually took cream, matched her choice without thinking. The table was small. Their knees almost touched underneath. Emma adjusted her chair back, maintained physical distance. The waitress left. I got your letter. Did Daniel and Sophie? Daniel read it? Sophie? I don't know. She didn't tell me. Hartwell nodded, didn't press. You were right about one thing. I was angry. Was? Am. Still am. Coffee arrived. Neither added anything, neither drank immediately. You said you see it now, the empty kitchen. I do. What changed? I met a child who waits 2 hours for her mother. She doesn't complain, just waits. Emma talked for 15 minutes. Hartwell didn't interrupt, didn't defend, kept his hands flat on the table. She mentioned her 6th grade science fair. He'd promised to attend. Didn't. Her wedding. He'd paid for everything. Didn't help plan. Speech felt transactional. Nate's birth. He'd sent a gift basket. No visit for 3 weeks. You were always solving problems. We weren't problems. I know. I don't think you did. Not then. No, not then. Emma took her first sip of coffee. Hartwell mirrored the action. The pattern happened without deliberation. I'm not ready to have you over for dinner. I understand. I'm not ready for Nate to call you Grandpa. That's fair. I need you to know this isn't forgiveness. I'm not asking for that. Good. She paused. What are you asking for? Permission to try. Try what? To show up, even if you don't want me there yet. Emma looked at her phone, checked the time. 47 minutes elapsed. She didn't stand immediately. Maybe we can do this again. I'd like that. I'm not promising anything. I know. Emma stood, gathered her purse, her jacket. Hartwell remained seated, letting her leave first. The letter, it helped. A little. Thank you for reading it. She left. No hug, no handshake. Hartwell watched her exit through the cafe door, remained seated for 5 more minutes after she was gone. Coffee cup half full, water glass untouched. The check arrived. He paid, left a large tip. She'd stayed the full hour, not 59 minutes, not 45. The full hour. Small progress. Measurable? 2 weeks later, Friday afternoon, 3:30. Hartwell signed the visitor log at Maple Grove Elementary. The receptionist, Beth, he knew her name now, looked up and smiled. Mira's group is outside today. Good weather. Thank you, Beth. He walked toward the playground without guidance. Knew the route. Spring afternoon, warmer weather. Windows open throughout the building, sound of students, familiar hallways. He reached the playground fence, stood there, didn't enter, maintained appropriate boundary. Watched students. Located Mira playing foursquare with 6 other kids. She was laughing, competitive. Her purple backpack sat with others on the equipment rack. Playground equipment gleamed in afternoon sun. Dodgeball game nearby. Teacher supervising from a bench. Late afternoon light created long shadows across the concrete. Mira saw him during a break in the game. Ball had rolled away. She waved from 30 feet, big smile. Returned to the game immediately. Didn't run over, didn't leave her friends. That's Mr. H, she said to her group, barely audible from the distance. The library guy? Devin asked. Yeah, game resumed. Mira scored a point, celebrated with her friends, didn't look back toward the fence. Hartwell continued watching, 5 more minutes. Mira's group was called inside. After school program transition, she waved again from the doorway. Smaller wave, casual, went inside with her friends. The teacher approached, cordial but professional. She talks about you sometimes, says you're nice. She's a good kid. Made a lot of friends this semester, more confident. Hartwell nodded, didn't claim credit. The teacher returned to supervising remaining students. He walked back through the building, past the library wing. Entrance had a dedication plaque. Hartwell Family Library, S 2024. Students visible through windows. Reading, doing homework, librarian helping someone at the front desk. Hartwell didn't stop to look at the plaque. Kept walking, didn't photograph it, didn't pause. Exited the building, parking lot, his car. He reached it, checked his phone. Text from Emma. Nate's birthday party is May 18th, 2 p.m. You can come if you want, just you. Late afternoon light, school visible in the rearview mirror, students being picked up. Normal end-of-day activity. He typed response. Thank you, I'll be there. Started the car. Didn't leave immediately. Sat for a moment. Watched the school in the mirror, then drove. Afternoon traffic. Radio off, quiet. He drove past the library wing one last time. Didn't look up at his name on the building. The afternoon light caught the windows. Inside, someone was reading.